Missy Beauty. I am back with another foundation review from the drugstore. This foundation is a powder foundation. The last video that I made of a drugstore foundation was a stick foundation, and I had mentioned that it was a little bit darker than what I needed, but instead of switching it for the same brand, I wasn't too wowed by it. I just went on ahead and exchanged it for this powder foundation. The powder foundation that I am going to be reviewing for you today is the Maybelline Superstay powder foundation. It's a full coverage foundation, or at least claiming to be, and it says up to 16 hours, I think. It says up to JUSQA 16H. So let's just see what some of the claims are on this. I've got my phone here. Benefits: packed with color matching pigments. This long lasting formula delivers our highest foundation coverage ever in a powder. This full coverage powder makeup has a creamy texture that is easily blendable and glides onto the skin for a matte finish. So this is matte, from classic ivory and fair porcelain to golden caramel and java. This high coverage foundation is available in an extensive array of complexion matching shades. All right, they're saying to apply with a brush or a face sponge all over the face and neck and décolletage. So I will not be doing this here. Use alone or over your liquid foundation you can. So let's go ahead and open her up. It looks a little, I was concerned because the color that I got is the color Coconut. It is 355 Coconut. It does come with a mirror and it does come with the sponge. I will be using a brush, and the brush that I will be using is this type of brush here. I'm sure you guys have seen me use this type of brush before. My other brushes are actually drying. I got around to finally cleaning my face brushes. So this is what it looks like. Let me zoom in and focus. It always goes out of focus before it goes in focus. Now I'm not sure if this is going to be too dark for me, or is it going to be, I don't know. Let's swatch it on my, let's see. I think I got it in too close. Can you guys see that? So this is the way it swatches on my underarm here. So it might match my shade. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So I'm going to take this brush up. Before I do that, I almost forgot. I am going to use this Illamasqua. It's Illamasqua Hydra Veil. I did get it in one of my boxes, and I have yet to use it. And they say that you can use this, it's made in Thailand. They say that you can use this as a perfect canvas for your foundation application. So let's go ahead and use that as my primer, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, let me just say that I love the packaging on this Illamasqua. It's called a Hydra Veil. The consistency of this is almost like a jelly. So it's kind of like a wet, cold jelly. It didn't feel great. Kind of felt weird going on. But it does dry down into somewhat of a sticky surface here. So it will hold, I can tell right now, it will probably hold any foundation on, probably making it last longer. But we are going to do at least a 2-hour wear test of this makeup here, this powder foundation. Now that we have put the Hydra Veil on as our primer, I am going to go in with the actual foundation. Again, this is the Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. So let's go ahead and get started. Guys, this is the application. I don't think it is a full coverage. I think it is, let's let this focus. I think it is a medium coverage, and I'm using this mark right here as a reference. I will take some on my finger right here, and I'm going to, let me look at it because then it'll focus. I'm going to proceed to try to cover this up with my finger and this powder foundation. And I just don't think, and it could be because it's powder foundation, I don't know. A blemish like this, I don't think, if this was full coverage, it would definitely cover it. And it's not really doing that. It's kind of making it a little bit difficult to see, but it is, you can see straight through it. Now, I did have a blemish somewhere else. Let me look here. On this side. This blemish right here. Sorry, guys. Focus. This blemish right here is going through as well. Is coming through, is shining through or showing through. So I would not describe this as full coverage. And not only that, I do have that moisture veil, or what are they calling this exactly? This Hydra Veil that gave a little bit of grip and stick. I'm not sure why it's not sticking to this area, but the coverage, if I wanted to cover my dark spots, I would have to definitely use a, not dark spots, but my dark area here under the eye, I would definitely have to wear some type of concealer, because I tried, and I can try with my finger. It's really not concealing in the same way that a liquid foundation would. Again, this is my color. It's called Coconut 355. And this appears to be my shade. It really does appear to be my shade. It seems to be a perfect match, actually. What I'm going to end up doing is spraying it. I'm going to end up spraying it with my favorite Pixie Skin Treats here. And after that, I will put on, I'm not going to film that part. There's no need. I'm going to put on the rest of my makeup, and I'll come back with my review of what my thoughts are. And then I'll do a 2-hour wear test. and come back with my review of how I think the makeup stayed after 2 hours. I am looking at my NARS skin tint and thinking, should I usually put a skin tint underneath powder, but since this is a powder foundation and I'm testing the foundation itself, I want to test the foundation itself. I could have done one side, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you a review on just the foundation by itself. You can't really tell I have makeup on. I think this really just evened my skin tone. Yeah, it kind of smoothed my skin tone out, but I think that's about it. So let me go ahead and spray my face, put on the rest of my makeup, and we'll come right back. All right, guys, this is what I've done. I've kind of bronzed my face up with the butter bronzer, so I look a little bit dark in some areas. I kind of bronzed myself up. I tend to do that when I use any type of powder foundation. So spritzing it with my Pixie Skin Treats here, which I really love. I use it in almost every video. So after I used the Pixie Skin Treats, then I did go in with the butter bronzer. What I do have on my eye is one color, and let me try to find it. It is, and I love these eyeshadows by IBY. They have a creamy, buttery type of eyeshadows. This is, oopsie, this is the color, hold on, that I used on my eyes. I used it very lightly. Let's focus. I used it very lightly on my eyes here. You can't really see it. You can see it right here. So I just went with a simple one color. Of course, I did go in with a gloss. I'm sure you guys can see that. That is from the Fenty Beauty holiday collection. That it came with 5 glosses. This particular one that I did use is this color here. And this color is the Hot Cocoa, or Hot Cocoa. Is it Hot Cocoa? That's the one I used on my lips. These glosses are really nice, and I haven't really even gone into all of them. So this was my first day using Hot Cocoa color. So yeah, that is what I have. Oh, and I did use highlighter, and it is a Too Faced highlighter, and I believe this is a highlighter and bronzer all in one. But what I did is I took my brush and swiped back and forth between both, and I put it down the center of my nose and the high cheekbone area here. So yeah, I guess I could put it on a little bit on my eyes, a little bit, yeah, to give it some shine. But yeah, that is it, guys. Not for the whole video, but that is it until I do my 2-hour check-in, just to see what happens. It did start to look a little bit better. I look way bronzed here, but it did start to look better when I started spraying it and putting on the bronzer and things like that. So you can tell that my skin tone is a lot more even versus not having this powder on at all. But let's go ahead and see how this wears. Give it a 2-hour wear test, and I'll let you guys know my final thoughts. Bye. All right, guys, 2 hours later, let's come on in and let's look at my T-zone especially. Sorry, I was summoned again. So just zooming into the T-zone, after about 2 hours, it doesn't look bad. It looks like the foundation is still there. And actually, you have to look rather hard to see the spot, the burn spot that was here. So with putting on bronzer and then spraying my face, it kind of helped to mask the actual burn mark, which is interesting. And down here, you see some oil, natural oils, peeking through the foundation a little bit, but for the most part, what you see here is the glow that came from the highlighter and this spray, the glow mist. But just coming on back out, I think it looks fairly good. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this powder foundation. I think it's a good match for my skin tone. I put a lot of bronzer and highlighter on my face, but I think for the most part, it has melted in with my skin a little bit better than when I first put this powder on. Another thing that I was not too psyched about is this. When you put your, even lightly brushing it across to put your foundation on, so using your brush, just be careful at how you're digging into this. There is a lot of kickback in this product, a lot. And it probably is better if you do wipe it on with a sponge. It does come with a sponge and a mirror here. And the sponge is right here. So this is better applied, I think, with an oval brush like this, or a sponge that comes in the actual compact, like this, something like this. If you go in with a brush like this, with bristles like this, it's just going to, and even if I was to use the flat end of this, it might be better than a fluffier brush. So if I was to go in like this and apply it here, all over, this would take longer to apply, of course, but anything but, not anything, but I think a fluffy brush or something like that, it's just going to kick up a lot, because even using this brush and kind of rubbing it around, it kicked up a lot. So I had to go in slow. And even rubbing it on my face, the dust was kicking up. So that's the only downside to this powder. But once you get it on your skin, I would say it's a light to medium coverage. If I had more blemishes than what I had, I'm not so sure someone with a lot of blemishes to hide or darker blemishes would be able to cover it. They would probably have to go in with 2 or 3 coats. And when you do something like that, it kind of makes it look cakey. So you have to figure out what kind of skin tone you are and whether or not you would need this to cover darker blemishes. Do you have a lot of blemishes? Because I just don't think this is completely full coverage just right off the bat. And reapplying this and putting more coats, I'm not sure what that would look like, but whenever you do something like that, it can look cakey. But guys, that is my review. I do like the coverage that it gives my particular skin tone. I can't speak for anybody else, and I like the coverage it gives for my skin. I like the way it wears when you put other powder products on it, like bronzer and blush, or I didn't use blush, bronzer and highlighter. I am good with it. I am going to keep this. Coconut, if you're my shade, don't let the bronzer throw you off. Coconut is my shade. I would not, it looked orange in the pan. It looked a little orange. It is not when it goes on my skin tone. It is not that orange. And you know, it does depend on whether you're, was it neutral, golden, or what have you. But for my undertone, whatever that is, which I think I'm neutral, it worked for me. Again, 355 coconut. I believe coconut was the stick foundation that I had, and that was Maybelline as well. So yeah, 355 coconut in the powder. I give it a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. I will be reusing this when I have to. For those that need to conceal under the under eye, I don't like using concealer, but if you do need to conceal, this did conceal more than I thought it would. But if you do have dark circles, you might want to use a concealer. I'm just not a fan of a concealer. Still searching for just that right light concealer that gives me coverage. So yeah, I'm still on the search for that. But guys, that is it. Matte coverage is what they're saying. Full coverage Maybelline New York Superstay. And that will complete it for this edition of my Drugstore Foundation reviews. And this was a 2-hour wear test. So that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to look back at my other videos, find out if this is a channel for you, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell button if you want to be notified when I make new videos. But for right now, we will see you in the next one. Bye.